that introduction was actually longer than my remarks. I was invited to speak some weeks ago, and I jumped at the chance. And I want to thank Ken Germanson and the committee for actually having me down. I was standing next to Larry, and I heard Dave go through the acknowledgments, and I said, I think he's forgotten me. And I figured, well, I guess I'm the Green Bay guy. Everybody else is from Milwaukee. And it was revenge for not having any more Packers games down here. I can tell you that Ken told me to limit my remarks to 10 minutes. I'm actually adding a few lines right now because I don't even know if I have 10 minutes of remarks. But he said to keep my remarks to 10 minutes and to make sure they were really inspiring. But after the performance, I don't know if I could do a better job than that. I think that was great. So I just hope I do enough, I hope their confidence in me was correct, and I do justice to the historic significance of this day and to those who marched here and those who've fallen. I'm really eager to try to match the voices of these people before me. I don't think I can do it. I could do it, but it's not the normal routine for me. So let me begin. Those who marched 125 years ago had left behind kings, aristocrats, landlords, and masters. And they had come to a nation of citizens, not subjects. A nation that declared all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A nation in which we are told, we, the people, rule. Truly, those who marched that day had joined a people who had fought a revolution not only for independence, but also to make a democratic republic. Indeed, a people who had fought a civil war not only to sustain the Union, but also to assure that in this Union, freedom prevailed over slavery. Life was challenging and it was demanding, to say the least. But the challenges and demands were no worse than they had had before they had come. And in any case, those who marched could see the possibilities here in the place that the revolutionary Thomas Paine had called an asylum for mankind. Moreover, they grasped America's purpose and promise. They felt the nation's democratic imperative and impulse, perhaps more clearly and more dearly than those who had come to this place before them. At the same time, they recognized that a new birth of freedom was never given. It had to be won. Those who marched had come a long way, and they had no intention of failing themselves, their families, their comrades, or their new home, America. So we gather here not simply to remember and honor them, but all the more to draw inspiration, strength, and courage from their commitment, their determination, their hopes, and their aspirations. Many generations of working people have come to this town on this lakeshore with its diverse faiths and ethnicities, not to mention its love of beer, baseball, and babies. And together, here in Milwaukee and beyond, they created great things. They created the greatest city in Wisconsin. They created the greatest state in America. They created the greatest nation in history. But of course, there are those who have denied and continue to deny America's purpose and promise. And they have fought us every step of the way. You know who they are.
Yeah, that's right.
They put power, they put property, they put profits over personhood. They insist that the American dream is fulfilled. They proclaim that history ended in 1776, or in 1848, or in 1865, or in 1920, or in 1945, or in 1965 or whenever. But such folks don't get it. Or better said, they get it, but they don't want us to get it. They don't want us to remember what the likes of Thomas Paine, Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, Eugene Debs, Emma Goldman, Robert La Follette, Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, Martin Luther King Jr., Cesar Chavez, and those whose sacrifice we commemorate here today never forgot. They don't want us to remember that we are descended. We are descended from people who, for all their faults and failings, fought a revolution, fought a civil war, and a world war, not in hopes of defending the status quo, but in hopes of realizing freedom of speech and expression, freedom of worship, freedom from want, freedom from fear. They want us to forget. They want us to forget that we are the children of people who built homes, livelihoods, and communities, who organized political parties, Republican, Democrat, and Socialist, and labor unions, AFL unions, and CIO unions, and the IWW. And they struggled for their rights as Americans, not just because they needed to, which they did, but also because they had made the grand American experiment of extending and deepening freedom, equality, and democracy their own. In fact, those who deny America's purpose and promise don't even want us to feel. They don't want us to feel America's democratic impulse. An impulse that not only led working men and women to come to Wisconsin, to build this community, to organize a union, and to dream of an 8-hour day. 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for what we will. But also that led them to march here in Bayview on May 5th, 1886. But I'm sure you join me in saying, we will not stop remembering or feeling. We will remember them and we will honor them against the ambitions and schemes of those who would deny America's purpose and promise. We will continue to gather in solidarity. We will continue to fight for our rights, and we will continue to declare that this is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Thank you.